ডেইলি সানের আরেকটা এডিটোরিয়াল আমরা চলে আসলাম। নেম চেঞ্জ, কান্ট্রিজ অ্যাডপ্টিং নিউ আইডেন্টিটি। এখানে লিখেছি কান্ট্রিজ দ্যাট হ্যাভ চেঞ্জড দেয়ার নেম। সো লিখেছেন সাইয়েদ বদরুল আহসান। ইট ইজ রাদার ইন্টারেস্টিং how in our lifetime countries have reinvented themselves through acquiring or adopting new names as their new identities. There have been people like Nigeria's Igbos who were briefly part of a country they thought would guarantee them a respectable niche in the world, but Biafra, the country they lost to Nigeria only 3 years after it declared independence, is today a memory. But think of other and happier places around the globe. The country that once was Swaziland is today Eswatini. Or reflect on how Dahomey has become Benin and Upper Volta turned into Burkina Faso. Back in 1957, Kwame Nkrumah decided that the Gold Coast, about to be decolonized, would be renamed Ghana. The process of a change in names, indeed of societies and nations going for a transformation in the way their countries would be known, has continued over the decades. Once the mighty Soviet Union officially known under communism as the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic USSR collapsed in the early 1990s, all of its constituent republics Estonia, Latvia, Uzbekistan, Ukraine, Belarus, Kazakhstan and others went their independent ways. Of the old Soviet Union, only Russia in its new avatar as the Russian Federation remains. Closer to home, our home, that is, we have a country which historically was known as Burma. In the late 1980s, the military, which has been in power since the early 1960s, renamed the place as Myanmar. Think of our own People's Republic, once part of India. Post partition, it became East Bengal before being rechristened as East Pakistan. When it became the sovereign state of Bangladesh in December 1971, what till then used to be West Pakistan became Pakistan. Remember to that, Sri Lanka was for ages known as Ceylon until its leaders opted for a change in name. In Africa, Tanganyika formed a union with Zanzibar to become the Republic of Tanzania. But not all such unions have been happy affairs. The United Arab Republic (UAR), which Jamal Abdel Nasser formed through a union of Egypt and Syria, did not last long. In the aftermath of the Second World War, Germany lay bifurcated into a pro-West state called the Federal Republic of Germany (FRG) and a communist German Democratic Republic (GDR). The fall of the Berlin Wall brought about the reunification of the country in the 1990s as the FRG, Federal Republic of Germany, in the Middle East. Until the Saud family established a kingdom and called it Saudi Arabia, the place was for generations known simply as Arabia. It is intriguing how the Sauds have had their family name attached to their country. That is not what Reza Shah, the founder of the Pahlavi dynasty, did in his time. He simply decided that Persia, the old country, needed to be born anew as Iran, and that is how Iranians now have had their country since. In Europe, much permutation and combination has occurred around the new ways in which countries have decided to be known before the rest of the world. Following the fall of communism, Czechoslovakia split up peacefully into the Czech Republic and Slovakia. In nearby Yugoslavia, a state cobbled into shape by Josip Broz Tito collapsed like a castle in the sand after his death in 1980. Serbia, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Croatia, Slovenia, Montenegro, Kosovo, and North Macedonia swiftly emerged or re-emerged as states, asserting their independence in the emergent new circumstances. In Asia, Korea remains divided as a consequence of the war in the early 1950s into the Democratic People's Republic of Korea (DPRK) or North Korea and the Republic of Korea (ROK) or South Korea. Cambodia, which was renamed by the Khmer Rouge as Kampuchea in the middle 1970s, went back to being Cambodia once Pol Pot and his regime were driven from power by a Vietnamese invasion in 1971. There has been a slight tweaking around the name of Turkey, which is now officially referred to as Turkey. Taiwan, which China claims is its renegade province, of course with justification, has projected itself since Chiang Kai-shek and his defeated Kuomintang forces fled to the island in 1949 as the Republic of China. The Central African Republic was for a few years known thanks to the Quixotic Jean Beryl Bokassa in the 1970s as the Central African Empire. An unabashed admirer of Napoleon, Bokassa named himself emperor but after a few years was deposed in a coup d'etat. The country went back to its old identity. Meanwhile, in what is today the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, the late kleptocratic dictator Joseph Mobutu gave it the name Zaire. He changed the name of the capital to Kinshasa and even gave himself an African name, Mobutu Sese Seko. During the process of decolonization in the 1960s, Northern Rhodesia was reborn as Zambia under the leadership of Kenneth Kaunda. In 1980, the white supremacist regime in Ian Smith's Rhodesia collapsed, becoming the independent Republic of Zimbabwe with Robert Mugabe heading the government. The Malaya we knew in the 1960s and earlier was to become Malaysia. In the early 1970s, what had till then been known as the Trucial States were reborn as the United Arab Emirates through the association of Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Sharjah, Ajman, Al Quyen, Fujairah, and Ras Al Khaimah, East Timor, which gained independence after 24 years of Indonesian military occupation in 2002, is officially known as Timor Leste. There have been some other changes, often within a few countries. In Pakistan, the province called the Northwest Frontier Province (NWFP) was renamed Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Some towns bearing colonial era names were given local names. In India, Bombay became Mumbai, Bangalore became Bengaluru, and Kolkata became Kolkata. In China, Peking was rechristened as Beijing. Peking was rechristened as Beijing, while changes in the spelling and pronunciation of people's names were also brought in. For instance, Mao Zedong became Mao Zedong, Zhou Enlai became Zhou Enlai, Liu Shaoqiai became Liu Shaoqi, and Deng Xiaoping became Deng Xiaoping. In Cambodia, the Khmer Rouge's Pol Pot was earlier known as Salotsar. Remarkable changes have occurred in our lifetime. Nations have reinvented themselves through emerging as independent republics. Monarchies have made their way out of people's lives, though a handful remain. Kingdoms such as Nepal are currently republics operating under elected governments. Politics has changed in quality and substance, not always for the better. Syed Badrul Hasan writes on politics, diplomacy, and history.